Hello, everybody, and welcome to this close-up review here on the Media Files. Yeah, this time figured I would go through and talk about one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. Just an instant classic. And, what can I say? There have been a lot of people that have discussed, their collections. And, hey, I figured I'd show off mine for this particular movie. Well, both of them. Which movie is that? Well, let's just say it's an instant sci-fi classic. Didn't start off as a classic, but now it is. And figured, hey, it's my turn to talk about them. I'm going to talk about Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 today on the Media Files. Welcome back. So, yeah, Blade Runner. What can I say about this movie? Well, first things off, how I first heard about it. I remember back in the day, I was, obviously, Best Buy, which was the king of places to go to for DVDs, where I was around at. And so I had only just a small handful of DVDs, because obviously they were pretty expensive back in the day. Sadly, some of them still are. And I only had I think 3 or 4 movies, and so I was looking to get a new movie at the time because I didn't want to, because I just got a DVD player, and I wanted a DVD instead of a VHS. So I asked one of the workers there if there's any recommendations. He recommended I should watch Blade Runner. I'm like, okay, what's it about? He's like, it's like a slow moving detective sci-fi movie. I'm like, okay. So took it home, watched it. I've watched it ever since. I'll watch this movie basically every month if I want to, or whenever, if I'm just in the mood to watch this. Now granted, with this DVD, this is actually my original copy from early, see, when did this come out? Let's see here. Yeah, 1999. Yeah, I've actually had this since actually I think I bought this back in 2000, I think. Very early. I've had this very, very early on for DVD. So this is one of my original movies that I've owned since. And it's the old, snapper type of case with, the old artwork there and everybody's favorite flipper discs. That's what everybody had back then. That's all that was available. So yeah, Blade Runner, classic movie. I absolutely loved it. And, give or take, about 15, almost 20 years later, there's a rumor going around that we could be, getting a new version of Blade Runner. And I'm thinking, oh, so is it like a different cut, or is it just make it look better? Because I had more DVDs, obviously, by that time. And, I was like, what do I, do I just get rid of that one and go for the new one, or what is it? As it turns out, it would be this huge project where they would not only restore this version, but they would also restore, apparently, another version. And Ridley Scott would actually do a second director's cut. I'm like, sweet. So, many years later, I come across, we come across the 25th anniversary of the film, and thankfully digital technology has grown to a point where we can actually restore older versions of movies, and people can watch whatever edition or version that they want. So in 2007, Ridley Scott would come in and basically give his definitive version of Blade Runner with the Blade Runner Final Cut. Yeah, now this is the 2-disc special edition. This is the DVD edition of this movie. And so with this, now they did release this as a single disc, but this one here has some pretty cool artwork. So there it is. You got Deckard, with his gun ready to go, and that just dropped. Oh well. Let's fix that. Stay. So anyway, so there's Deckard there with his gun hunting down replicants, and here you have Rutger Hauer's performance as Roy Batty. Awesome villain, creepy, but so good. And so with that, we actually have bonus features. Yeah. So here we have the final cut of the influential masterpiece of science fiction movie making. Yes, without this movie, we would not have, there would be no Matrix. There would be no Dark City. There would be no Mandalorian. There would be no Star Wars, like current Star Wars stuff without this movie. So, for the first disc, it's been digitally restored and remastered, incorporating new footage and special effects never before seen. We'll get to that in a second. Soundtrack remastered in Dolby Digital 5.1, an introduction by director Ridley Scott, as well as 3 filmmaker commentaries, including one by Ridley Scott. So, Ridley Scott did a brand new commentary about this movie and literally kind of explained why he wanted to make these changes. So, Disc 2. We have Dangerous Days, the making of Blade Runner, the definitive documentary incorporating outtakes, deleted scenes, and all new interviews. The ultimate look at the movie's difficult creation and controversial legacy. So yeah, I mean, what can I say? I mean, it's that he perfected this movie. I mean, I'm like, could it be any better? Yes, it can. So, with the original film ran for 117 minutes. They were like, is it going to be extended? Or was it going to be like, nope. Literally the exact same running time as before. However, the big differences besides the picture quality and the restoration of the film is the character of Pris. They're played by Daryl Hannah. The sequence where Deckard is tracking her down and she runs, you can obviously tell when she's going through glass that it's a different actress, or it's actually the stunt her stunt double. Thanks to digital technology, they were able to go in and put Daryl Hannah's face on that actress, and it looks like Daryl Hannah is actually going through that. But not only that, though, this version, like the director's cut, does not have the narration, which is awesome. It sounds better, it looks better, especially for a DVD that's pretty good for DVD quality. So, they would release that edition, and then also, right around the same time, we would also get yet another edition on DVD as well as Blu-ray. Yes, Blu-ray was around at this time. However, we need to discuss this DVD version first. So, I managed to find this at Disc Replay, and ever since I found it, I have never found this particular version ever again. We have the 4-disc collector's edition of Blade Runner. Yeah, now this features the final cut, as well as the something else here that we will get into here in a minute. Now, you see the artwork here? Artwork here is the same poster art as the director's cut, only except this time it's really cool. You can see it. It's embossed. The Blade Runner is Harrison Ford, 4-disc collector's edition, as well as the spine. But what's cool about it is that it has like all these really cool like divots and stuff that are all around it, made it to feel like metal. But here's the other cool thing about this particular edition. We have a lot more work, a lot more pictures, a lot more awesome artwork. That's right. So we got Deckard, him doing the test, Roy Batty and his villain, And then you have Rachel down there in the bottom. Flap opens up with even more photos. And there's Pris running from Deckard. Now might be hard to see, but if you look carefully, you can tell that is Daryl Hannah's face. But if you notice here, right up here, big old B. Blade. It's kind of hard to tell with the lighting. R. Ner. Yep. Blade Runner. So it's actually kind of cool that they have a flap like that where it literally says Blade Runner across it. That's actually pretty cool. I love that. And then here's the back of it with we have Roy Batty and Deckard there where he gives the Tears It Rain speech, as in, I've seen things you people wouldn't even imagine. And but yeah, so you saw some of that artwork from the final cut, right? So let's go in here. Look at this. We have different artwork. Yeah. So we have disc 1 there with Deckard. And let's see if I can get this out of here without breaking the disc, because they're snug in there. They are very snug. We have there with Rachel. Disc 3, we have Roy Batty. And then on disc 4, we have Pris. So, with this thing, this puppy and this edition is piled with extras. Piled with loads and loads and hours of stuff. And this is just on DVD. So, for disc 1, we have the final cut. So keep that in mind. Everything that was on this set here has been ported over to this. It's the exact same thing, just different artwork. Dangerous Days for disc 2, exact same thing, except different artwork. Disc 3, this is what everybody has been anticipating and waiting for forever. Since the movie came out, it did okay, but when the director's cut came out, people looked at it again and they're like, that actually is a much better version than what I saw it in theaters back in 1982. I wasn't born in 82. I was born in 85. Yeah. So, disc 3 has 3 complete archival versions of the movie. We have the original 1982 U.S. theatrical cut. That version alone has all of Harrison Ford's dialogue, like his all of his narration, basically to make it like almost like a detective story where he has to explain what's going on. I thought about this, I did this, sure, she looked like this, but what was I trying to think about? That type of thing. Then there is the 1982 International Theatrical Cut, which is basically the same thing as the theatrical, but there's a few little differences here and there, for international audiences. And then, not only that, then you have the 1992 Director's Cut, which is that version. The Director's Cut takes out the narration. That is not there. That's why the Director's Cut got so popular that people kept hunting down, trying to find the other versions. The only way they could do it was by bootlegs. But here's the cool thing about this, is that on that disc alone, all are seamlessly branched and separately available on one disc, with introductions of each version by Ridley Scott, and all versions have been digitally restored and remastered from the original elements for the enhanced picture and audio. So you have 4 versions of Blade Runner that have been completely remastered and restored to high definition quality. Awesome. And it sounds like it's raining. What can I say? I guess Roy Batty came into play. I guess he wanted to see things he didn't understand, right? However, though, we also have the 4th disc. The 4th disc is an enhancement archive. An audiovisual mosaic of more than a dozen segments chronologically chronicling aspects of the production, plus focuses on Sid Mead, Jordan Cronenweth, and as well as DVD restoration and vintage featurettes. That disc is loaded. Butt loaded with extras. I mean, just this set alone. This movie was worth basically $333. That's how much I paid for it. So, with that, are we done? No, we're not done. So, 2007 came around. DVD had been around for a little while. Blu-ray comes around, and sure enough, this movie looks even better on Blu-ray. Now, if you want to get the Blu-ray, this is the version you want to get. We have the exclusive on Blu-ray only, the 5-disc complete collector's edition. Everything that was on the 4-disc set is ported over to this in high definition. It looks so freaking good. I mean, even listening to it, with the old original audio sounds even better. It sounds like it was made yesterday. However, you say 5 discs, right? So what's cool about it is that it comes with this awesome booklet. This booklet here basically has all the different things about the making of the documentary. Not only that, though, it has chapter selections for every single thing about this. And not only that, it even shows you literally like everything that is all here. Tons of awesome pictures and whatnot. As well as, and everything is in standard def, for certain things that specify that's in standard def. But loads and loads of bonus features. And there's even more stuff on disc 4. Yeah. But not only that, though, you get trailers. You get, you even get a documentary about the poster art. Yeah. The poster art was done by, God, what is his name? I can't remember what his name is. But it escapes me at the moment. He's a very famous poster artist who's done so many great posters, including not just Blade Runner, but Harry Potter, Hellboy, Star Wars, obviously. I cannot remember what his... Drew Struzan, that's it. Poster art by a documentary just about Drew Struzan. That's awesome. So here we have the first disc. Awesome artwork. You notice they're all colored. So, however, here is the difference. You've got Blade Runner, the final cut on Blu-ray. You've got Blade Runner, Dangerous Days, the making of Blade Runner. This is only on DVD. This is not on Blu-ray, which is so weird that this documentary is not on Blu-ray. I don't know why Warner Bros. Decided to put this on a DVD when it's in a 5-disc Blu-ray set. However, Disc 3 has the theatrical, the international theatrical, and the director's cut. Exact same thing as the 4-disc set, but on Blu-ray. Disc 4, we have the enhancement archive, which all the bonus features, all the meat of the traditional bonus features is on this disc, on DVD, not on Blu-ray. It should have been on Blu-ray, but hey, I'm not going to complain. However, Disc 5. What's this 5th disc? Is it bonus features? What is it? It is the 5th cut of this movie. This is the extremely rare work print edition. This version is basically, when it came out, theaters, it's kind of like when they're still kind of working on the movie, but, it's not quite finished yet, but it's more of like for test audiences. Somehow, somebody managed to get a hold of this copy and kept showing it in theaters, like local, fan clubs and what have you. That was the version of Blade Runner to get way back in the 90s. And luckily, somebody whoever had it had kept it well. And not only that, though, it has been restored in high definition on Blu-ray, and it looks amazing. It is a completely different cut than what you're thinking of. So literally, you have basically 5 versions of Blade Runner. You have all 4 official versions, which is the theatrical, the international theatrical cut, the 92 director's cut, which is that one, as well as the final cut on here. But also, it includes the rarely seen work print, which has been restored by Ridley Scott himself, looked it over, confirmed everything the way that it should have been back then. Not only that, though, like I said, this thing is loaded with extras, bonus features out the wazoo, over 9 hours. Yeah, that Dangerous Days documentary is I think it's almost 2.5, 3 hours long. It's so good. If you are looking to pick up any movie, any good sci-fi movie on Blu-ray, get this edition. That is the version to get. Or if you can find it on DVD, either get those 2 or get this 4-disc set. I will try to link. I'll link everything for this movie. There will be links all down in the description below. So, after, many years of asking Ridley Scott, when will you ever do another Blade Runner? Will it ever happen? Well, he wanted to do one, but he was busy doing other sci-fi projects at the time. And so another director who's been kind of up and around the scene, with some pretty decent movies, decided to take a crack at it. And my God, did this guy ever perform well. Not only that, though, he got the return of Harrison Ford. But not only that, though, it's literally 30 years later after Blade Runner takes place in 2049. Blade Runner takes place in 2019, which is sadly not here anymore. Directed, actually, hang on. The writer of the film was written by the original writer, Hampton Fancher, who wrote Blade Runner. If it wasn't for him, Blade Runner would not exist. Neither would this one. Hampton Fancher and Michael Green co-wrote this screenplay. However, directed by Denis Villeneuve, who basically everybody now knows for the Dune remake. But he's also made some other great movies like Sicario, Prisoners, and in the soon to be coming out soon, the second part of Dune. So here we have the DVD version of Blade Runner 2049. So basically, it's just your typical DVD, like everybody always has. No artwork whatsoever, because Warner Brothers is cheap on that, unless you put the money forward. You have a flyer for the game Blade Runner Revolutions. And this is a long movie. This movie is almost 3 hours long. It's 164 minutes. But it does come with a few bonus features. Comes with basically a lot of short featurettes about familiarizing yourself with the world of Blade Runner. Such as the Replicant Evolution, Blade Runners, The Rise of the Wallace Corporation, Welcome to 2049, Joys, Within the Sky, Spinners, and Pilot Fish and Barracudas. So yeah, not quite as many bonus features on this, but hey, I'll take it. And yes, because the Wallace Corporation basically takes over the Tyrell Corporation, because the character of Tyrell no longer exists after this movie, because the guy was supposedly 70 years old or something like that in the movie, but obviously 30 years later, I don't think that actor is no longer around. But an amazing performance by Jared Leto as Wallace, and you'd have Ryan Gosling in here, who stars as the Blade Runner known as K. Amazing movie, visually was so well done, and you can tell it's got some of Denis Villeneuve's trademark shots in it, because he kind of did this trademark thing, and I noticed in Sicario, and he's kind of done it a little bit over, since without several of his other movies. But yeah, I mean, who else is also? Oh, and also Robin Wright is also in this movie, as well as Dave Bautista, who makes a small role, but man, I'd hate to fight that guy if you see him, So, yep. So I got the sequel. I think I got the DVD I think it was on Black Friday, because I really wanted it, and they were completely out of the Blu-ray. So I'm like, well, I'll just have to settle for the DVD at the time. And you can kind of tell the DVD quality, it's good, but it's not that great, because obviously it's a DVD. So later on, I browsed around, came across another place that still had Black Friday movies. I got it on Blu-ray. Much better quality, much better picture design, sound, amazing. And not only that, though, it comes with even more bonus features. So the artwork is basically, is your flyer for the game. And once again, it comes with a DVD. So say if that DVD screws up or decides not to work, I got to back up as, there we go. Blade Runner, no artwork, just your generic, clear, plastic, nothing. Just the text. So, yeah. But not only that, though, the score for this movie was amazing. I forgot to mention the score by Vangelis for the first movie. Instant classic score, instantly recognizable, and there's actually even a documentary on there. And during the documentary, they talk about how he was able to score the film while watching it. And it was all done with synthesizers, and you see how many synthesizers this guy has hooked up. He's got about 10 of them surrounding him, and he just plays it as he's watching it. He doesn't come out with any sort of it's just, I'm like, that's a genius right there. If you were able to score the film as you're watching it, that's awesome. Now, the score for the sequel was done by Hans Zimmer, and uses a lot of very familiar, he uses the same keyboard as Vangelis did, the Korg synthesizer. But it's also co-composed by Benjamin Wallfish, who has done a lot of great scores. He's a fairly young composer. He's done the new Mortal Kombat, but he's also done one of my favorite scores. He's done the two Stephen King It movies. But one of my favorite scores that he's done is the Invisible Man remake that Lee Wannell directed. So, for the bonus features, we have the same thing again. Familiarize yourself with the world of Blade Runner. Replicant Revolution, Blade Runners, The Rise of the Lost Corporation, Welcome to 2049, Joys, Within the Skies, Spinners, Pilot Fish, and Barracudas. Now, on the Blu-ray, this is exclusive to the Blu-ray. We have your entry into the visionary spectacle, designing the world of Blade Runner 2049, and To Be Human, the casting of Blade Runner 2049. But also, there are some prologues that are exclusive to this set. We have the 2022 Blackout anime, the 2036 Nexus Dawn, and 2048 Nowhere to Run. So, this movie, it did fairly well in theaters, but because it was so long, it didn't make quite as much money, but there is a big, huge cult, following this movie that they're trying to get possibly a third movie off the ground. I hope so. But with this movie, though, from what I understand, is that the work print version, or rather the first cut of this film, is 5 hours, and I want to see that cut. Get that version made. Do the exact same thing that you did with Blade Runner, a few years from now, when technology is available and when Denis Villeneuve has time, get him back in there, make him go through that cut, get that extended cut out there, because it may even make the film even better, because, I would love to see an extended cut of this movie. Not to say the movie's long enough, in it, which it is, but there's just some stuff in there, and, it kind of it you lose a few things here and there, and you're like, what's going on? But you kind of need some of that extended stuff to kind of explain what's going on. Basically, the back of it basically says, with answers come questions. There you go. But yeah, what can I say though? An amazing movie. I love this movie, and it's so good. And you get an amazing cinematography by Roger Deakins, who won an Oscar for this. And if it wasn't for him, we really wouldn't have this movie obviously looking as good as it does. So yeah, supposedly there's a third movie in the works. I think they're trying to call it Blade Runner 20 something. I don't know exactly, but Harrison Ford's getting up there. He's not getting any younger. Obviously, he's getting ready to release Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny this summer. But what can I say? Great throwback to his younger days. And what can I say? I mean, this sci-fi franchise is so good. I know there's, and not only that though, read the book too. I'll leave a link down in the description for that as well. If you have not read the book, read it, because the book is different than the movie, obviously. But not only that though, get the soundtracks too, because that music alone is awesome. It really is. I still listen to both of them to this day. I still love it. So yeah, what can I say? Amazing stuff there. That's been out of print forever, but you can find it anywhere you go to. The 4-disc collector's edition DVD, that's hard to come by. The Final Cut DVD, you find that everywhere. The Blade Runner Blu-ray, get that on Blu-ray. If you want to get on Blu-ray, definitely, I highly recommend getting that if you want all 5 versions. And just get $24.99 on Blu-ray, because it comes with the DVD. So yeah, with that, I think I've talked long enough about this movie. Both of them are great. What can I say? I mean, it's one of my favorite sci-fi films of all time. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have The Matrix and other sci-fi movies that came after it. But yeah, so with that, I'll see you in the next close-up here on the Media Files. If you have any thing you'd like for me to review, if you see anything here behind me, leave a comment. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.